From the Pepsi Arena in Albany, it is our HSBC MAAC Tournament Men's Quarterfinal number 2. The top-seeded Bronx from Rider University against the Canisius College Golden Griffins. And we check the tournament brackets as they stand right now. Niagara knocked off Iona earlier this afternoon, so the Purple Eagles will get the winner of this one in the semifinals tomorrow. And welcome back, everybody. Along with Glenn Consor, this is Doug Sherman. And Glenn, if you look at those brackets, you think this game coming up is clearly David versus Goliath, but the Golden Griffins certainly have a puncher's chance in this one.
Well, they certainly do. The key with them is shooting the basketball. Obviously, Toby Foster's going to have a big game, but matchup problems could be the storyline this game. Not too many teams can match up with Jerry Johnson and Mario Porter in this league. Canisius might be one of them.
Well, you mentioned Toby Foster. He is a deadeye from beyond the arc. He has one of the sweetest strokes in the conference.
Well, absolutely. You know, he lives off of Brian Dukes, the point guard. He's one of these guys that just knows how to get open with the ball. Can't really take you off the bounce that well, but he's one of these catch it and shoot it guys that could really extend the defense. If he makes shots, that could open up the inside.
Meanwhile, a guy who expects to see a lot of defensive pressure from Canisius is Mario Porter. He's the 2002 MAAC Player of the Year.
Well, he's seen double teams and triple teams all season. Porter can beat you in so many different ways, which is what makes him so tough. He can beat you off the bounce. He's improved his outside shot this year. And, you know, I have a most improved team. He's not on it because he's won every other award this year. Very tough on the boards.
Our keys to the game brought to you by HSBC. First for Canisius.
Well, Canisius obviously has to keep Porter off the boards and make sure, and they limit his touches. But more importantly, if they could shoot over 50% like they did in the play-in game, Canisius could stay in this game. From Rider's standpoint, they need to dictate tempo. They're one of the few teams in this league that can go up and down. They can play slow, they can play fast, but they have to do it on the boards first.
When we come back, men's quarterfinal number 2, the Rider Bronx against the Canisius Golden Griffins. The starting lineups and the ball game next on the MAAC Television Network. This game is brought to you in part by the Pepsi-Cola Company, the joy of Pepsi. By HSBC. By Continental Airlines, work hard, fly right. And by the New York Lottery. Have you bought your lotto ticket yet? You could win millions. New York Lotto. Hey, you never know. Welcome back to a darkened Pepsi Arena. The starting lineups are just about to be announced here in Albany for quarterfinal number 2, the Rider Bronx and the Canisius Golden Griffins. The Bronx are the number 1 seed after having won the tiebreaker to win the top seed in the regular season championship, and the Golden Griffins won a play-in game yesterday, actually yesterday morning at 10 a.m. So Mike McDonald's club going to have to figure out how to come back on this strange schedule and take on the number 1 team in this conference tournament. Here's how the Golden Griffins will line up, brought to you by I Love New York. DeWitt Doss, Brian Dukes, Andy Bush, Hodari Mallory, and Toby Foster, who we spoke about earlier in the open. If he is given even an inch, he will take a mile from the perimeter.
Oh, no question about it, but Mallory's the key guy on this team. You know, Dukes is the guy that runs the show, but Mallory is the breakout type player that could put a lot of points on the boards, and they're going to expect him to rebound this game as well. He's going to have his hands full, though, with R.J. Wicks.
There you see the starting 5 for Rider. Jerry Johnson and Rich Baker bringing a whole new dynamic to Rider basketball this year. While Wicks, as you talked about with the coach a few minutes ago, the lunch pail kind of guy. Robert Reed has really come on late in the season. And then the one constant really for the entire season, Mario Porter.
Well, Mario Porter, just so tough. You know, you can't guard him because he's quick. He could take you off the blocks. He could face, put it off the bounce, and he's extended his outside shot, so he really is like a triple threat small forward that could play a little power forward. And you see the Canisius little dance going on. Looks like a little hora.
Well, I really don't think that this is as big a disparity between 1 and 8 as you typically would see in a tournament.
No question about it. And just think about what Mike McDonald did last year. You know, obviously running the table, no one thought that they would get to the final game, and Mike was able to lead this team into the final game, and they played Iona real close. They were clearly undermatched. But he's going to have his hands full. Again, making shots from the outside is going to be important. If they can make some outside shots, extend the defense a little bit, they could open up the inside for Bush. Bush is a terrific inside player. They need a big game from him. Bush has struggled with his back all season. If he's healthy this game, Doug, if that back is not bothering him, this could be a good one. I think we're going to have 4 good ones. We just had a good one the last game.
Niagara the first to win. They're brothers from Western New York, the Canisius Golden Griffins, trying to spoil that man's fun here in Albany this weekend. Don Harnum's club, the #1 seed after in the preseason being picked as the 7th best team in the conference. It has really all come together. Ryder 13-5 in the league, 17-10 overall. They come in blazing hot, having won 10 of their last 12 ball games.
You know, and congratulations to Don Harnum for winning the Coach of the Year, Doug. You know, he's done a great job. We talked about it a little bit. You know, when they first came into the league, they played. He spread you out. They played slow. They kind of lulled you to sleep, and he made the change. He got Baker and Johnson in the backcourt, and these guys are pushing the ball up the floor. They are a fun team to watch now. Not that they weren't effective. I'm sorry, Doug. Not that they weren't effective before, because they were playing that slow, methodical. But now, you know, this team really goes up tempo.
Now, yesterday morning in the play-in game, Canisius overwhelmed Loyola to earn this spot in the quarterfinals. Mallory misfiles. But they had what you would call a relatively easy game. If there's ever such a thing as an easy game, they didn't have to really extend themselves to get by the Greyhounds.
And what makes this game a little bit more intriguing, Doug, is that the last regular season game that Ryder played as the #1 seed, they got bumped by Loyola. So don't think that this is a lock here. You know, any team could beat anybody on any given night. Loyola proved it the last game of the season against Ryder.
Baker off the curl with the first bucket of the afternoon. Rich Baker, a junior from Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, in his first season playing for Ryder after transferring in from Lackawanna Junior College. DeWitt Doss picks up the dribble. This is Toby Foster, guarded by Mario Porter.
The other thing that's going to happen offensively this game is Doss is going to have to make shots. He's been quiet the last 5 games for Canisius.
Mallory misses. Porter skies for the rebound. Mario Porter, the leading scorer and the leading rebounder in the conference. And there's Jerry Johnson.
That's
you talk
guy.
about confidence, pulling up off the dribble and knocking down shots.
Love him. And what I love about him is that he's unflappable and he's fearless. He takes big-time shots.
Lob into Andy Bush. On second effort, he missed everything. Gets it back and somehow saves it out to Dukes. DeWitt Doss for 3.
Oh, that's big. See, that's a big shot right there, the little things. I'm just going to point out some of the little things that we might not be thinking about. Doss makes shots. Toby Foster makes shots. That opens up Dukes' ability to penetrate in the lane. It changes the complexion of how Canisius plays.
5-3 Ryder. 17:50 left to go here in the first half. Robert Reed from the high post. Rebound, Brian Dukes. Dukes, a 6'2 junior from Orchard Park, New York. Doss the leaner. Too high off the window. Reed the rebound. The winner of this game gets Niagara tomorrow afternoon in the semifinals. Johnson fouled on his way to the basket by Doss. And Johnson to the line. Foul on DeWitt Doss is the first of the ball game. And so Johnson, a 6', 170-pound freshman from Lancaster, PA, at the free throw line. You see that scoring average. It's up to 14 a game. He finished 6th in the conference in points per game. This young man was nowhere on anybody's radar screen when we started the season in terms of this type of production.
Yeah, but you talk to every coach in the MAAC conference, they'd love to have him. He's explosive. He plays great defense. And he's very, very quick with the ball. You know, the last game, we saw some two very quick. We got some great. How about the freshman point guards in this league? Johnson and Solomon Brown and Alvin Cruz. There's a bunch of them.
Johnson dogging Doss. Porter unable to save it from the sideline. So a near steal for Ryder. Canisius will hold possession. 7-3 Ryder with the lead. There's Mario Porter. We'll be talking much more about him as the game wears on. 20 points per game, 8.5 rebounds a game. Toby Foster blocked by Porter. Jerry Johnson dropped back to Porter, and he was tied up by Dukes. Free throws coming up for Mario Porter.
You could see Porter overplaying Foster. See, they're not going to give him that shot. but he was able to recover. That's just a great defensive play by Porter. He was actually beat back door, and he recovered to block the shot. Not an easy thing to do.
Porter's first point, the senior from Irvington, New Jersey. First team All-MAAC last year as a junior. He averaged 19 points and 6.5 rebounds, so the numbers have gone up as a senior.
You know, Doug, you made a good point before about Mario Porter's consistency, and it kind of reminds me of what we saw last year in the graduation of Darrell Brown. Just someone that has been very consistent over a 4-year period of time, putting up points and rebounds.
Rich Baker off the turnover. Very quickly, it's 11-3, and the Golden Griffins need to be careful here in the early going. Mallory lost it out of bounds. R.J. Wicks got a hand on it. The Bronx have come in as the top seed with that bullseye on their chest, but playing extremely well.
See, R.J. Wicks is the type of player that could have played in like 3 or 4 decades. You know, he's just one of those guys that just gets it done. Not a big stat guy. He's not going to fill the stat box up for you. He's going to get deflections. He's going to rebound. He's a big guard. He could defend the small guys and the big guys. It doesn't matter. He rebounds. He takes charges, and he fights. He's a warrior.
Mike McDonald has to use a timeout. Gives us a chance to tell you about the winner of the New York Lottery MAAC Scholar Athlete Award. It's Brian Dukes, the junior guard from Canisius. He's a physical education major and has a 3.2 grade point average from Orchard Park. The New York Lottery will provide new computers to Dukes' elementary school. The award is based on GPA, community participation, and good sportsmanship. The New York Lottery supporting education since 1967, saluting Brian Dukes for his achievements. Mike McDonald used that timeout. I think he was probably trying to wait until the officials' timeout, but it just got to the point down 8. He couldn't wait any longer.
Mike McDonald is really going to have to make sure this game doesn't get out of hand. 2 things have to happen. They have to keep Porter off the boards. They can't give up easy shots. And more importantly, and Mike knows this, he's got to take care of the basketball. Not Mike, but his players.
Right.
You know, this team is going to have to really make sure they spread the floor a little bit and force Ryder to stay down.
Adari Mallory whistled for the foul. It's his first, and the 4th against Canisius. Mallory is a 6'3" junior from McKinley High School in Buffalo. And he's another one of the undersized forward types. He's an outside-inside kind of guy at 6'3", able to get in there and mix it up.
That's a nice battle, Doug. R.J. Wicks and Mallory. 2 guys that kind of play the same way. Mallory might be a little better offensive player. Wicks, I think, is a little better on the defensive end.
Here's Wicks into the paint. Push blocked it the first time, and then a jump ball is called. It'll stay at this end. The arrow pointing down toward this end.
You know, Doug, we've seen through the years with R.J. Wicks, you know, everyone lays off him. They don't think he can score, but all of a sudden he springs up. It's kind of like a jack in the box, and he surprises you with a quick jump shot or an explosive move to the basket to show that he can score. And he really is one of those players that's unselfish, and he takes what the defense gives him.
Wicks gets the foul that time. Yeah, he always seems to get his 6, 7, 8 points. Yep. 5, 6, 7 rebounds.
At big times. At big times in the game. He's a clutch player.
All right, we've got a timeout here at the Pepsi Arena. 11-8. Ryder out quickly here on the MAAC Television Network.
What are you looking for in a college? Cutting-edge academic programs, a faculty that's second to none, great recreational opportunities and residence halls? How about a college that will provide you with the education you need to become a leader in your profession and in your community? If that's what you're looking for in a college, you'll find it at Canisius. To learn more about Canisius College, call 1-800-843-1517 or visit us on the web at canisius.edu. Canisius College, where leaders are made.
Ryder 11, Canisius 3, 15:51 left to go first half from the Pepsi Arena in Albany. And hey, how about that? Look at that picture. HSBC proud to sponsor the HSBC Family Section. HSBC salutes the MAAC and today's families in attendance. Cute little guy sitting in the front row. Again, I said it in the last game, Glenn. I'm guessing those youngsters aren't going to be around for the nightcap. It's got a doubleheader of action in the evening as well.
Depends how strict the parents are.
That's right.
You know, they might give them a break and let them stay up and watch some good hoops.
Not a school night, you never know. Robert Reed a little over aggressive against Andy Bush, picking up the personal foul. Well, this is the third meeting of the year for these two clubs. First time was back in December out in Buffalo. Ryder won 63-46. Mario Porter, not surprisingly, the lead man for the Bronx with 18 and 11. Then they played in New Jersey, second week of January. Much closer game, but again, the outcome was the same. Porter a double-double. Ryder wins 65-62. Here's Porter, short on the jumper. Dukes fouled by Porter. But clearly, Mario Porter's the guy. And, you know, Glenn, you grab the stat sheet here and you look down. The high scorer and high rebounder for about 80% of the games for Ryder, Mario Porter.
Yeah, he's been dominant. Obviously, Don Harnum did not like that foul. Just got a little anxious. You know, if Mario's going to pick up a foul, it should not be in the backcourt on a reach.
Foster guarded 24, 25 feet away from the basket. They know his MO. Porter's giving Foster no room to maneuver, so they go to Bush. He misses, Wicks the rebound.
Boy, it's one and they're done. No offensive rebounds for Canisius. Ryder doing a nice job. That's what Porter can do. Porter just cleans up the defensive rebounds. And Robert Reed's really improved in that area as well. What a great year he's had.
Porter, his first field goal, 4 points for the 6'6" senior.
You know, Doug, we've seen Robert Reed through the years, you know, really come off the bench, not getting that many minutes. And this year he's been a big-time contributor on the boards. He's an emotional leader for this team. He gets them fired up. He's long. He covers a lot of ground.
Here's Richard Hampton. If anybody's going to take over on the glass for Canisius, it'll be Hampton. He's been terrific lately. Foster misses the runner. Reed the rebound.
But see, that was a little soft. I think he went up a little too soft on that play. He didn't take it to the rim.
Johnson short of the pull-up. Foster hands to Dukes. Golden Griffins trying to run. It's a 3-on-2. Dukes takes it himself. Count the basket. But we've got an offensive foul. 13-5.
See, this is what's great about Jerry Johnson. You know, I'm just going to point out one thing. Jerry Johnson came down on this right before this play, took a bad three-point shot. But watch what he does. He gets back and takes the foul, so he saves the play. That is not an easy thing to do for a freshman. Usually freshmen take bad shots, and they kind of get frustrated a little bit. He ran back and did the right thing, made a big play, showed some good moxie, and that's what Donnie Harnum's talking about. Give him a little tap on the head, saying, great job. He has to live through Jerry's mistakes as a freshman year, and he's done that. And he's given him the freedom to do that. Not a lot of coaches would do that.
Second foul on Duke, so he sits down. Doss, Mallory, Bush, John Ferris, and Richard Hampton out there for the Golden Griffins. Porter off the up fake. Lost it on the way up. Here comes DeWitt Doss.
Boy, there was like 12 blue shirts on Mario Porter when he got in the paint.
Ferris had to give it away. He
See,
started to go up.
He could have picked it up. He just couldn't put it on the floor.
Lawrence Young, short. Mallory with the crossover to get by Porter. Hodari Mallory off to Andy Bush. Andy gets the roll. 13-7.
Well, that broke a little bit of a drought there for Canisius. Andy Bush needs to play big this game. Remember him last year in the MAAC tournament. He really blossomed along with Darren Fenn. He was like the guy that everyone was not thinking about. He had a terrific tournament last year. Everybody was focusing on Darren Fenn, who had a great career at Canisius. And Bush had a great tournament. He scored a lot of points, did a bunch of rebounds.
12 minutes, 50 seconds left to go first half. Richard Hampton for Canisius inside to Andy Bush, working on Brandon Wallman, who got a piece. Bush blocked this time by Porter. Hampton tries. He's well short, and the Canisius offense continues to struggle. Baker, strong to the hoop. Blocked and fouled by Hodari Mallory.
These guys are going at it.
His second.
I like how both teams are getting back in the transition game. No one's getting layups. Everyone's getting their shot blocked, and here you see Baker get up there and wow, Mallory was like sitting up there on a chair and just waiting for that shot to come up, and he just slams it down.
I think we've got ourselves a technical foul called against the Canisius bench.
Technical foul is going to send us to Canisius.
Mike McDonald, I don't know if it was him or somebody else in that general direction. But we have free throws coming up after the technical for Mario Porter.
Mike doesn't look too upset about it, but I don't know where the tee came from. Did it come from one of the players on the bench? Did it come from one of the coaches? And it's interesting because Mike's got the whole team right now huddled around him as a unit. Usually you get 5 guys. Now the whole bench came up, the coaches and everybody is around Mike McDonald trying to rally the troops, kind of right the wrong.
Well, whoever said it, Mark Distaiola, heard something and assessed the technical. So Mike McDonald still trying to figure out what's going to work here. Down by 7, shooting only 1 of 7 from the floor so far this afternoon. Rich Baker shooting 2.
You know, Doug, you think about the performance that Niagara just put on Iona. I'm not too sure any one of these teams want to play Niagara after what we just saw. You know, well-balanced attack. They did a great job. They just annihilated Iona on the boards. Joe Mihalik's got great bench depth and guys that could come off the bench and score. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, he's got guys like Schmidt and Mendez that can come off the bench and score points, and not just role players.
Ferris drops it off. Hampton lays it in and the foul. Richard Hampton, 6'7" sophomore. And now did we get ourselves another technical?
Good ball movement created the opening for Ferris inside. Hampton moved to an open spot, gave it a little bobble. Donnie Harnum might have wanted to travel on that play, but he didn't have control of the ball.
So now Bob Adams talking it over with Coach Harnum after he gets a technical foul. So things are heated here at the Pepsi Arena. Each bench getting technicals within the last minute. So Brian Dukes will shoot before Hampton goes to the line.
This is getting good. This is getting heated. But Donnie Harnum, he's really telling his players, make sure we don't give up second chance opportunities. Get back and rotate. That was poor rotation that time when Ferris had the ball. No one rotated down on Hampton. And that's a huge play right here. Look what happens. All of a sudden, Canisius now down 4.
And more free throws coming up. Richard Hampton with a chance for a 3-point play. So this is a big swing as the Golden Griffins inch their way back into it. Hampton from Cleveland, Ohio. He's been averaging 8 rebounds per game over his last 14. And when you're Canisius, and as size challenged as they are, you need Hampton on the glass. Baker out, Johnson back in. A big swing. That was a 5-point trip for Canisius.
Yeah, Hampton could be the X factor of this game, Doug. He comes up with a big game on the boards to help out. Obviously, if Andy Bush is on the bench, especially, you know, this is a very small lineup that Canisius has on the floor. With Ferris and Hampton and Foster. Foster, that's like 3-6-6-5, 3-6-5 or 3-6-6 guys on the floor.
There's Hampton on the glass. Foster left her alone and he knocks it down. That is why Ryder on the defensive scouting report says get after him. But without Mario Porter in there, who had locked him up for the first 8 minutes, Foster found himself alone, and we've got ourselves a tie ball game, an 8-0 run for Canisius.
Ryder right now not matching up in the transition game. Canisius pushing the ball up the floor. The guys just aren't getting back and matching up on the shooters. You cannot leave Toby Foster that wide open.
And he was wide open. He was standing out somewhere near Waterville, and nobody was anywhere near him. And Mike McDonald knows he's our guy. Second in the conference in 3-point shooting percentage this year, 42%. Foster's not the kind of guy who's going to get his own look. He derives his offense from others.
Right.
But right there, wide open, and tied the game at 15.
See, Dukes does a nice job of running the show for Canisius, just finding open people, making other plays around him better. I like Dukes' toughness, too, on defense. And one of the things that Ryder's going to have to do a better job of is recognizing the changing defenses of Canisius. Right now, they're playing a 3-2 zone. They started out with a man, but now they're showing 3-2 zone out top, but it's a matchup zone.
Shot clock under 10. Johnson, whistle and a foul. Offensive against Johnson. Credit John Ferris for standing in there and taking the charge. We have a timeout and a good ball game. Tied at 15. #1 Rider against #8 Canisius here on the MAAC Television Network.
450 years of Jesuit tradition are woven into a Fairfield University education, an education characterized by academic excellence and service to the community. Fairfield's success is fostered by a caring faculty that knows their students as individuals. Located just an hour from New York City, Fairfield combines a park-like campus conducive to learning with the city's cultural and career advantages. Fairfield University, where education reflects the challenges and opportunities of a fast-changing world.
An 8-0 run by the 8th-seeded Canisius Golden Griffins has tied this ball game at 15 apiece. And fans, don't miss the 2002 MAAC Golf Championship at Disney's Wide World of Sports in Orlando, Florida. It's April 25th through the 28th. If you'd like to go down and check it out, contact Anthony Travel at 1-800-736-6377 or online at anthonytravel.com. With Glenn Consor, this is Doug Sherman at the Pepsi Arena. Quarterfinal #2. Niagara won the opener earlier this afternoon and awaits the winner of this one between Canisius and Rider. That'll be a semifinal tomorrow at noon, also here in Albany. Notice how Mario Porter back into the game steps out on Toby Foster when he has the ball. Bush with the travel.
Nice entry pass to Bush inside. They had great spacing on that play, but Bush just shuffled his feet, and that's what they're trying to do. Mike McDonald trying to mix it up a little bit, not just rely on Toby Foster's outside shooting. Got to go inside.
Taylor misses. Mario Porter cleans it up. 7 for the MAAC Player of the Year. Rider back on top. That snaps the 8-0 run.
With the defense inside by Reed's doing a nice job on Bush. Now he needs help. See, the help wasn't there. He got lucky because Bush lost the ball.
Yes.
The help just wasn't there.
Bush had a wide open look after the nice drop step.
Anytime he took 3 dribbles inside, and the guards didn't go in and dig it out.
Lawrence Young sits down. This is Toby Foster. Also into the game for Canisius, Richard Jones, a 6'6" freshman. He's number 15. Foster lost the dribble. Porter took it away.
So I would have fouled him back there.
Johnson blocked by DeWitt Doss. Nice play by the Canisius point guard.
And nice job by Canisius getting back into transition defense.
The miss. Wicks the rebound. Doss had a terrific sequence, just couldn't finish. He got the block shot. He went end to end, got himself an open look, and number 11 for the Golden Griffins couldn't quite finish the layup.
See the block out top, and Doss pushes the ball up the floor. Both of these teams are doing a nice job getting back in the transition game. So you got to finish that shot off. And there's the foul from behind. That's just a frustration foul from Doss because he missed the layup.
Yeah, when you're only 5'10" and you get a block shot and a chance for that, you got to finish that. You don't get many block shots.
You got to put it in.
Wicks shooting 1-1. That was the 8th team foul against Canisius.
The other thing that I love about Wicks is that he's played through injuries. This guy has battled injuries, and he wants to get out there and he wants to play through them.
The broken nose, a sprained ankle against Lafayette earlier this year.
Dislocated his finger and his shooting hand. I mean, this guy, and he just wants to play.
Yep.
And that's impressive to have a guy like that, you know. And my belief with that is if you're injured, you know, you give it a shot. You try to play. And he's one of those warriors that does it. And if you can't go, let the coaches or the trainers tell you can't. And he's one of those guys that you can rely on.
Senior from Saginaw, Michigan hits a pair of free throws. It's back to a 4-point Rider lead. Ferris with a step. Nice help by Wicks and the offensive foul. Almost as if on cue.
That's his game. He's just blue-collar guy, understands the game, understands the concept of team defense, shuts down the lane, Stays down in his defensive stance. It's a good call. That's predictable, Doug. And everybody in the gym knew he was going to go in and take that charge. I almost jumped over the table.
You say that every game.
I know.
You
I just don't have the quickness. One of these days I'm going to do it,
All
Doug.
right. I want to see it.
I don't think the officials would like that. Be jumping over the table.
Bob Adams won't mind.
Bob
He'll
would like, yeah. Bob's one of my guys.
19-15 Ryder. 9:35 left to go first half. You see the team fouls. Jerry Johnson.
Tough shot.
Blocked by Jones out of bounds, and apparently Ryder the last to touch, so the Golden Griffins get it back.
See, he didn't have anything there. Just tried to kind of force the action, and that's something he's got to work on.
Hampton into Dukes. Working on Johnson. Dukes the pull-up. Jones behind the backboard tried to save it, but here come the Bronx. 2-on-2. Johnson off the crossover and fade. A foul against Hampton, and Johnson gets 2 from the foul line.
Yeah, you know, we have seen many games this year how Johnson's got that ability to stop on a dime. He could explode. He just stops on a dime. And that's what makes him so tough in the open court.
Jerry Johnson at the line to shoot 2.
Jerry Johnson, 3-time MAAC Rookie of the Week this year. And boy, the Golden Griffins certainly remember him. He hit the game-winning shot at the buzzer from 27 feet back on January the 11th. And that was really kind of the coming out party, if you will, for the rest of the conference to take notice that, hey, this kid's going to take big shots in big situations.
Right. He's not afraid. A lot of freshmen are very hesitant, tentative to make those types of shots and take them. And he's not. That's what Donnie likes about him. He likes his moxie. He likes his toughness. And even that play that we saw when he came down and took a bad shot, but he ran back and took the charge, that's what he's going to do.
Ryder back up by 6. They very much had the advantage so far, Glenn, from the foul line. 10 out of 12. They're getting to the line. Canisius has only been there 3 times. Jones with a pull-up from 19. Ferris tries to go back up, and he lays it in. Kind of in slow motion there. I was waiting for, again, one of the guards to get out and dig it out, right, but he was able to lay it in. Back to a 4-point game, 21-17 Ryder.
Canisius really doing a nice job of kind of trying to confuse Ryder by changing their defenses. They show zone and they show man. Right there, they're playing a man, and that's the thing that's very difficult, Doug, for a freshman point guard to recognize, the changing defenses. Sometimes when you penetrate, you got to back it up a little bit and see what the defense is giving you and then call a play. Let's keep our eye on Jerry Johnson this game to see if he does that when he's running the show for Ryder.
And bad news for Canisius. Adari Mallory, number 2, sitting down there with his 3rd personal foul. We've got 8.5 minutes to go. Now he comes back in. Can't switch just yet. Going to the line to shoot 2, but Mallory will come in, or rather go out, and Doss will check back in.
So that's a big foul. That is just a huge foul with Mallory, who was the player of the game, actually, when they Canisius won their play-in game. Against Loyola. Mallory was the guy that kind of brought him to the promised land, and his ability to score and hit outside shots. Now with him on the bench, it really changes things for Mike McDonald. That means that Ferris is going to have to do a job on the boards, and DeWitt Doss is going to have to make some outside shots.
Rich Baker, Mario Porter, and Jerry Johnson each have 7 points. Ryder's lead is back to 6. Brian Dukes again into the paint, and again there to draw the charge, R.J. Wicks. It is a broken record, but Mr. Wicks has the great help skills and the will to do it that he draws the charge.
Nice job. What a great job again. A little out of control that time by Dukes. See, Dukes didn't make a move. He just went right to the basket. And that's 3 fouls on Dukes, and that's huge. So all of a sudden, again, we saw how important being in foul trouble was the last game. We're seeing it again here. Picking up those quick fouls in the first half could hurt you and come back to haunt you in the second half.
Dukes and Mallory, a couple of the junior leaders for Canisius, on the bench with 3 fouls. Nice look inside. Tank Woolman with the glass.
And a nice flash by Tank. Got his hands up high. Didn't bring the ball back down. Just went right up with it.
15 seconds on the shot clock. DeWitt Doss, wraparound pass to Bush, and he's fouled by Wallman. So Andy Bush will head to the line to shoot 2. That is the 7th team foul against Ryder.
Now with Dukes out of the game, Canisius is going to have to rely on Doss to get in the lane and penetrate. Wallman tried to take the charge, so he left Bush wide open, and Baker didn't rotate. You see Baker in your screen right there. None of the guards. It's so important, Doug, and you know this from playing. The guards got to rotate sometimes to defend that little dish pass inside to the big guys. You got to at least get your hand on it.
John Ferris, forward out of Liverpool, sits down. Bush trying to make 2 out of 2. After being tied at 15, it has been a 10-4 run for Ryder. Canisius, Mike McDonald's club, back down by 6. We'll step away here on the MAAC Television Network. Ryder 25, Canisius 19, 7:33 left to go in quarterfinal number 2 here at the Pepsi. Some of the folks up from Lawrenceville, New Jersey, the home of the top seed here in the 2002 Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference Tournament.
Canisius has to be careful right now. Ryder starting to do a better job on the defensive end, and obviously Mike McDonald knows with Dukes out of the game, things change a little bit. He doesn't quite get the same leadership on the floor when Dukes is gone, and now Chris Ravello's in the game, who's a terrific looking freshman who could really shoot the basketball. See if they can get some points from him. Canisius now fall back to a 2-3 zone.
Baker the rebound, and the Bronx will reset.
Seems like Canisius is changing their defense almost every other time down the floor. And that's been effective for Mike McDonald most of the season.
Robert Taylor is in the game for Ryder. Here's Lawrence Young from 20. He is the top outside threat for the Bronx at just under 40%. 28-19. Bush works away from the double team and gets the roll. Andrew Bush now with 6 points. 28-21, 7-point Ryder lead. Give and go back to Wallman, swing it to the right wing. Nice ball movement for the 3-point basket by Rich Baker.
See the little ball fake shifted the zone, and that's one of the things that you forget to do when you play a zone. You think you're playing areas, but you're not. You're playing man. So when the ball fake happened, the zone shifted, and he just took an easy jump shot. If it was against man-to-man defense probably wouldn't have shifted like that. See, when you play man-to-man defense, you don't normally shift as much. Little shift. See the guy shoot over to the left? Left a wide open shot by Baker. Man-to-man, you're going to stay with your guy. You're not going to worry about who's to your left or who's to your right.
Andy Bush, who missed the dunk but was fouled, gets a couple of free throws. He had surgery on his back in September, right before the start of the season. And like on that last play, Glenn, chances are a year ago he would have finished that dunk and gotten the foul. But this year doesn't quite have the same agility or ups that he had before. They still think it may come back, but it's only been 6 months since the surgery.
Right, you know, and talking to Andy about it, he says that sometimes it hurts him and sometimes it doesn't, and it kind of pops up in the middle of the game and he gets real stiff and it hurts and it's painful for him. And then other times when he'll go up for a shot, he doesn't feel anything, so it's kind of a tough thing to gauge with him.
Baker lost it. Nice job by Ryder to regain possession. Under 6 minutes to go first half. The roll for Rich Baker, who now has 12 points to lead all scorers. Warning given to the Ryder team not to touch the ball after it goes through. And a little full court pressure now. 33-22, back to an 11-point lead. We were tied at 15 a few minutes ago, but Ryder has reestablished itself as the #1 seed on top by 11.
Good pressure out top by Jerry Johnson. Obviously, with Dukes in the game, this is what happens. You just lose a little bit of that ball control, a little bit of that leadership.
Dukes is out with 3 fouls. Hodari Mallory is out with 3 fouls. So you've got young guys in there. Doss, Hampton, Ravello. Guys that are getting more minutes here than they normally would get. Robert Reed looking for help. 17 on the shot clock. Taylor can't get the roll. Foster the rebound. They held the ball for almost 30 seconds, and Mario Porter did not touch it once.
Solid defense that time by Canisius. As Canisius still struggling to execute a half-court offense. Good timeout. You know, Mike McDonald obviously not happy in the entry pass, getting the offense started. And this is really where they're struggling, and that's what Dukes can do. He can get that entry pass in, starts the offense.
But Dukes with the 3 fouls, 2 on offensive charges. What do you do if you're Mike McDonald? I mean, that entry pass is something that has to be done.
Well, one of the things he's going to have to do is try to get some stuff off his defense. Maybe get some easy baskets in transition. Keep it away from a half-court game.
The 2002 Volleyball Championship is back at Disney's Wide World of Sports Complex down in Orlando, Florida, November 16th through the 20th. If you'd like to be a spectator, contact Anthony Travel at 800-736-6377 or go to www.anthonytravel.com. This is March Madness time, though. March 2nd, 2002. The men's tournament got underway yesterday with a couple of play-in games. Mike McDonald's Griffins worked their way into the quarterfinals to take on Don Harnum's #1 seeded Bronx from Rider University. 4:40 to go first half. Foster, quick pass inside to Bush. A very well designed and executed play. The rim right now is crooked, and nobody's noticed it. Yep, there the official takes a look back, and they will fix that rim. Nice shot right there.
You know, the sign of good coaching is after a timeout, you run a design play that obviously the team is not ready for, Doug, and that's what Mike McDonald did on that play. Well executed play, good ball movement again, creating openings inside. Little wheel and seal. Weak side defense not there. Caught Robert Reed a little bit off guard.
Yep, Robert Reed the victim of a well executed play. 33-24, 9-point Rider lead. The Bronx with the basketball. Here's Mario Porter. Into Reed. To the jump hook, and he hits. First basket for Robert Reed, junior from London, England. Toby Foster right around Porter. Nice look to Bush for another dunk. Andy Bush now with 11 points.
And a nice step in that time by Bush, who did a nice job of moving to the open spot off the penetration by Foster. Boy, we haven't seen Foster put it on the floor like that.
He went right around Mario Porter, something we almost never see.
Shocking.
3:43 to go first half. The tempo has picked up since that last timeout. Both offenses seem more comfortable. Baker open for 3. Air ball. Canisius has it. Hampton picked it up off the floor. DeWitt Doss trying to run. The lob. Ravello missed. Bush. Count the basket and 1. Andy Bush with 6 straight points for the Golden Griffins, and he'll have a chance for a 7th at the line.
See, that's what you get when you push the ball up the floor. You get easy baskets off the transition game. Good push by Doss, throwing an alley-oop pass. Obviously couldn't get the finish there by Ravello, but look who's there. Had a little mismatch. Johnson at 6'1" on Bush, and these types of mismatches are caused by the transition game by Canisius. Now, if I'm Donnie Harnum, Doug, I call a timeout and say, you know what, guys? I think it's time to get Mario Porter the ball. No touches the last 5 times down the floor. They got to get him the ball. You can't just rely on three-point shooting.
Bush leads all scorers with 14 points, and we've got ourselves a timeout. The lead is back down to 6. Rider 35, Canisius 29 here on the MAAC Television Network. Welcome back to the Pepsi Arena. Quarterfinal number 2 for the men. Rider with the 6-point lead over Canisius. Late in the first half, Niagara won the first quarterfinal. The Purple Eagles awaiting the winner of this one. They will meet in the semis tomorrow at noon. Don Harnum in his 5th season as the head coach of the Bronx after a long apprenticeship as an assistant. Actually, his entire life has been an apprenticeship to become a college basketball coach from a basketball family.
What a great job Donnie Harnum has done here. Not an easy thing to do to come into this league, Doug, and have some terrific years. That's a nice job. What were we talking about?
You called it, Glenn.
Get the ball to Mario Porter. Well-designed play, a little wheel and seal on the inside right away, going down with a quick hit to Mario Porter, wasting no time. Off the timeout, good penetration by Johnson. Ravello got there a little bit too late to show some weak side defense, and well-executed play puts Porter to the line.
Foster gets the foul, his second. And much like we saw in the first game, the Purple Eagles from Niagara got in the back of their leading senior, Darryl Green. That's what Rider needs to do here with Mario Porter.
You know, talking to Mario Porter, you know, you really could see just how humble he is. You know, he's kind of like a selfless type guy. He doesn't really like to bring attention to himself, and he kind of lets his game do the talking.
Jones having fits against Wicks, and he lost it out of bounds. Wicks with, again, the forced turnover. That is the 9th turnover by Canisius, and when you count the charges and the steals, I'm guessing Wicks has had a hand in at least half of them.
Oh, no question about it. You know, again, all the little things, the intangibles, the things that don't show up. You know, we just got handed a couple of stat sheets right here, Doug. All the things that Wicks does are not on this sheet.
Yep.
That's why sometimes I like to take the stat sheet, throw it out the window, and kind of just watch the game and watch the ebb and flow of the game, and you see a guy like Wicks stand out.
There's the double team. Porter gets it up nonetheless. Way too strong. Ravello the rebound. 2.5 minutes to go first half. Ravello from the left corner. Reed the rebound. He's got one of his teammates, but Rich Baker has to slow it down. Johnson tried to go backdoor. Reed instead goes to Taylor. Bad pass. Ryder's got it back, though. Shot clock continues to wind down at 15. Backdoor again to Johnson. He has to save it back out. Baker the runner. No. Baker gets it back. And Ravello the rebound. Canisius down by 7 with the basketball. Hampton from the baseline. Well short. We've seen a lot of shots that aren't even close so far in this game, Glenn. A lot of short shots, line drives that are just catching the front rim. Yeah.
It's called tournament time.
Reed backdoor pass again. Unfortunately for Baker, it was down around his knees and he was unable to come up with it.
So when you throw a bounce pass like that, that ball has to hit the hardwood and come up hard. If it stays low, it's a tough thing to do. Recover that ball. You got to bend down lower than you want to. It kind of disrupts your momentum going to the basket. That ball's got to go up high.
Toby Foster has come back into the game for the Golden Griffins, who trail by 7. John Ferris also back in. Richard Jones has returned as well. Still no Brian Dukes. On the bench with 3 fouls. DeWitt Doss to the basket, and this time he finishes. Back to a 5-point difference.
You know, Doss is one of these guys that can break this game open. He's a terrific shooter, but again, he really needs Dukes to set his game up a little bit.
Under a minute to go, first half here at the Pepsi Arena. Porter around. Ferris missed it. Reed the rebound and the putback.
I'll tell you what, Doug. That is a terrific play. You know, we talked about the last time we saw him play. You and I were sitting here with our jaws on the table.
Yep.
It's like the reverse Space Jam. And you remember the old Space Jam movie with Michael Jordan and the aliens getting into the bodies of Charles Barkley and Patrick Ewing and Muggsy Bogues, and it took away their game. Well, the reverse happened to him. The aliens got into his body, and now all of a sudden he's got a game.
Baker the steal and the three-pointer no. 11 seconds of the half. Ravello strong to the basket with the left hand. A blocking foul And Ravello will shoot 2. Yeah, that game you speak of with Robert Reed, that was the big game basically for the regular season championship in Poughkeepsie a couple of weeks ago, and he was a big part of the win as the Bronx went and beat the Red Foxes. And then earlier in the month, the last time we saw him against Niagara, he had a career-high 18 points, active at both ends. He is clearly one of the most improved players in the league.
Well, no question about it. And the thing about him is he's an emotional leader for this team. You know, aside from what he's doing in rebounding and scoring, Donnie Harnham talks about that, you know, the guys look to him as an emotional leader when things are maybe, you know, you have those lulls in the game where you can't score, you have those droughts. He's the guy that's kind of tapping everybody on the fanny and patting everybody in the back to say, you know what, let's pick your head up, let's go and play. And you need somebody like that.
And, you know, that surprises me based on an outsider's point of view. His first couple of years in the program, he seemed like an outsider, not the kind of guy that you're going to look to be an emotional leader, but he's turned into that. Here is Reed, 4 seconds to go from the baseline. He misses, and that'll do it here in the first half. A competitive first half between the #1 seeded Rider Bronx and the #8 seed, the Canisius Golden Griffins. Rider leads by 6 here on the MAAC Television Network. At the half, the top-seeded Rider Bronx lead the 8th-seeded Canisius Golden Griffins 38-32. But as we mentioned off the top, this is not nearly as wide a gap between #1 and 8 as you might think. The Golden Griffins clearly capable of not only hanging in this, but maybe pulling it out.
Well, kind of a strange first half. Canisius has 10 turnovers in the first half, but they still hung around. They're not going away so quickly because they got some great points inside from the front court players and Andy Bush, who's done a nice job of getting offensive rebounds, but more importantly, running the floor. I think that was the key.
Yeah.
When Canisius can get the ball up and get some easy baskets, that's when they excel. Obviously, also, Duke sat about 7 minutes in the first half, and they still were able to stay in this game with him on the bench. That could be key.
And Hadari Mallory as well.
Right.
He only played a few minutes in that first half before getting his 3rd foul, and they're both double-figure scores for the Golden Griffins, so Mike McDonald has something in reserve. On the flip side, we talked a little bit about Robert Reed, the spark plug for the Rider Bronx. Again, he didn't blow you away on the stat sheet, but he brings a lot to the table.
Well, you know, what he's done is he's been a great complementary player to Mario Porter. You see Porter threw him the ball, and Donnie Harnham really praises that as he plays so well with Porter because he also cleans up his mess inside. And, you know, I've talked about guys that have improved in this tournament and throughout the MAAC, and these are not the MAAC awards, they're my awards for what I have seen this year as the most improved players. Robert Reed obviously has done a great job. Eppenheimer came in, worked on his body, extended his range. Muggsy Green, you talk about a guy that you knew he could penetrate, you knew he could put it on the floor, improved his jump shot. Nate Brown's all-around game for St. Peter's was wonderful, and Wolford obviously making the switch. Now, one guy on the bottom there could be on this team as most improved because he really struggled last year. He really battled through a lot of injuries, and you talk about the comeback player of the year, in my opinion, got to be Darrell Green this year. Had a fantastic senior year, struggled all year with the injuries, didn't have a great junior year. Everybody was kind of forgot about him coming into the season, and he had a terrific year, and obviously they're on their way.
The Glenn Consor Awards. We got to get you a primetime hour-long special here. They're brought to you by HSBC, by the way.
There you go.
All right, the scores from the tournament earlier. We talked about the play-in games. Really, yesterday morning, Canisius had no trouble with Loyola 88-62, and then a more hard-fought game last night with Siena beating St. Peter's 77-66. Our first quarterfinal this afternoon, Iona unable to hang with Niagara. The Purple Eagles move on. And then you see coming up tonight, we've got the doubleheader. Should have a terrific crowd as the homestanding Siena Saints take on the #2 seed Marist Red Foxes, and then the nightcap, Manhattan versus Rider. Should be a great evening of college hoops here in Albany. We'll take a break at halftime of quarterfinal #2 Rider with a 6-point lead on the MAAC Television Network. This game is brought to you in part by the New York Lottery. New York Lotto gives you 2 games for $1, so play today. Hey, you never know. By Continental Airlines. Work hard, fly right. Ryder Trucks, logistics and transportation solutions worldwide. And by I Love New York. Show your love for New York State. Of a lifetime. They played their conference championship earlier this year at Disney in Orlando, Florida. Let's take a look.
The sun is rising on the second MAAC Men's and Women's Golf Championship, held at Lake Buena Vista Golf Resort at Walt Disney World in Florida. The golfers need to be at their best. An automatic bid to the NCAA tournament is on the line. Before tee-off, the teams gather for a tournament banquet. After dinner, golfers, parents, and fans are able to experience the unique Millennium Celebration. The Tapestry of Nations parade is followed by an unforgettable illumination show. Disney provides a unique venue that satisfies all needs of the MAAC. Women's volleyball, men's soccer, and cross country have all participated in championships held at the Wide World of Sports complex. In November, women's soccer will get their shot in the sun.
Rakes in the traps, please, throughout the course of the day.
The setting for the 2001 championship is being played at the Lake Buena Vista Golf Resort, home to the National Car Rental Classic, an annual stop on the PGA Tour. Lake Buena Vista is a Joe Lee design and one of 5 championship courses maintained by Walt Disney World. Eagle Pines, Magnolia, Palm, and Osprey Ridge courses offer play for any Disney guest. For the MAAC Championship, 9 men's teams and 2 women's teams will shoot 36 holes before a team and individual champion are crowned. Lake Buena Vista was a par 72 and played at 6,860 yards for the men, while women were challenged with a par 73 at a distance of 5,258 yards. Manhattan, Niagara, and Siena men were in a 3-way tie for first place after 18 holes. Iona was a stroke behind, and Ryder was also in contention. The Siena women held a 1-stroke lead over Fairfield. Despite a few trips to the sand traps, birdies, pars, and even a few eagles were not hard to see. All MAAC athletes and guests stay at the comfortable and friendly All-Star Sports Resort. The All-Star offers 2 pools, a food court, gift shops, and a unique multi-sport environment for its guests. Loyola's Jason Cage shot a 2-day total of 145 to claim the men's individual championship. Siena's Stephanie Reeves shot a 2-day total of 158 to take home the prestigious McLeod Trophy. The Siena women captured their first ever MAAC championship. Iona managed to surpass the 3 leaders and take the MAAC championship, their 3rd in championship history. They advanced to play for the NCAA National Championship. The MAAC will return to Lake Buena Vista in 2002. MAAC golfers will pack their bags with clubs, plenty of balls, and a lot of sunscreen as they return to the first tee next spring. Who will have the honors?
Congratulations from the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. We're at the half from the Pepsi Arena. When we come back, highlights and statistics on the MAAC Television Network. We're back at the Pepsi Arena at the intermission, quarterfinal number 2. Canisius trailing Ryder 38-32, and we take a look at our first half statistics, and the Broncs have turned the basketball over only 3 times, taking care of business. Meanwhile, Canisius's primary ball handler, Brian Dukes, has 3 fouls, spent much of the half on the bench, and you see 10 turnovers, a big difference so far in this game. Those first half stats brought to you by Coach USA. We'll be back with the start of the second half between the Griffs and the Broncs here on the MAAC Television Network. Ryder with a 38-32 lead, but Andy Bush with a nice push of transition baskets, keeping the Golden Griffins close.
Yeah, well, Bush really came out and exploded this game and made himself an offensive threat. Most of these points have come with Dukes not on the floor, and got some good setups that time by Toby Foster. Stepping in the lane, 14 points for Andy Bush in the first half. He's been the difference. You know, Canisius stuck around maybe a little bit too long in the first half when Ryder might have had a chance to extend the lead with Mallory and Dukes on the bench. I think they're sitting kind of pretty right now.
Well, the game was tied at 15. Then Ryder went on a run to open the lead back up again. But again, led by Andy Bush, as you just saw there. Just a 6-point difference as we begin the second half. Brian Dukes with 3 fouls out there with Toby Foster, Andy Bush, Hadari Mallory, and DeWitt Doss. Bush tries to continue the hot hand, can't do it. Wicks the rebound. Wicks, Porter, Johnson, Reed, and Baker. Same starting 5 for the Broncs here in the second half. Baker's pass back, stolen away by Brian Dukes. Hadari Mallory comes up with a loose ball. .19:15 to go in the second half, just underway. The #1 seeded Bronx from Ryder leading the #8 seeded Golden Griffins from Canisius. Doss with the runner. DeWitt Doss, junior, or rather sophomore from Niagara Falls, makes it a 4-point game. Baker. No good. Duke's got a hand in his face. And the Golden Griffins down 4 can cut it to a 1-possession game. Hadari Mallory with the pull-up. Off the mark. Porter the rebound. Nice look. Robert Reed lays it in.
So well those two guys play together, Doug. Both of those guys just really have a great feel for where each other are on the floor. And again, the initiation of Robert Reed into the starting lineup and his ability to gain more minutes have really helped Mario Porter.
Porter picks up the foul as we take another look at that basket by Robert Reed.
Well, he's the trailer play on this fast break. Porter just pulls the trigger, and Dukes is back and talking to his front court players, say, hey guys, that's not my man. Somebody else has to take him.
Robert Reed now with 6 points. It's a 6-point lead, 40-34. Doss hangs in the air but missed it. Baker the rebound. Porter thinks about it. Now from 15. He got hit on the arm but no call. It goes out of bounds. Canisius ball.
Yeah, anytime you see Mario Porter miss like that, little trick a lot of guys use is just tilt the elbow a little bit. Sometimes you get away with it. Most of the time you don't. I never did that, Doug. I never.
Because you never got up and defended anybody, you mean?
Never needed to.
Oh.
It was always out there.
Dukes for 3. Brian Dukes makes it a 3-point game, 40-37.
This is a doozy, folks, because Canisius isn't going away. They're making shots, and that's something that they have not been able to do. If Dukes could make outside shots, if Mallory and Doss could stick it from the outside, it changes things a lot from a scouting report perspective, because if Dukes could extend the defense, that just changes things. They could spread you out. One thing Canisius can do is execute a half-court offense and spread you out just like that.
Bush with the layup to make it a 1-point game 3 minutes into the second half. And that right there, we saw Brian Dukes, rather than over-penetrate and pick up the offensive foul, picked up the dribble and found one of his teammates. It was the over-penetration that got him into trouble in the first half. Foster called for the hand check on Mario Porter.
You know, Dukes, again, we saw when Dukes was not on the floor, Canisius struggling getting the entry pass in. Well, Dukes' ability to penetrate and see open guys just changes things for Canisius. Nice little draw and dish, and Bush did a nice job of moving to the open spot. Baker just got there too late, couldn't recover. Again, there's that rotate and recover issue.
That foul on Toby Foster, Glenn, his 3rd of the game, so he sits down. There he is with Coach McDonald. Meanwhile, that 15-5 run being spearheaded by Andy Bush, who's up to 16 points. Baker connects. It's back to a 3-point lead. 14 for Baker. He leads Ryder in the scoring column.
You know, Baker, like Johnson, also is one of those guys where you come down, you miss a couple of shots, you make a mistake. He's not afraid to take the 3rd one. He's going to go up and he's going to make you play it.
DeWitt Doss again trying to make something happen, misfired. Porter off to Johnson.
Canisius looks better in the second half with their man defense. Doing a better job of getting deflections and playing team defense, hedging on screens.
We're at the 16-minute mark. Reed can't get the roll. Hampton the defensive rebound for the Golden Griffins. Dukes still with the dribble. Out to Bush. Here's Mallory. Quick release from 3. It's a tie ball game, 42 apiece. Hodari Mallory with his first basket of the game, and the 8th seed is giving the first seed all it can handle.
Can't believe, Doug, you said Ryder was going to blow out Canisius. I cannot get over that.
Don't tag that one on me. This is the first tie since 15 apiece. And so far here in the second half, it's been all Golden Griffins. We have a timeout, 15:22 left to go. That bucket by Hodari Mallory tied the game at 42 on the MAAC television network.
I know most of you just graduated high school last year, or maybe you've been working for a while, seen some things, done some things, but nothing has prepared you for what's going to happen now. We're going to set goals for each of you, way up here, way up here, and then we're going to help you exceed them, believe it. And when finished, you're going to have not just a degree, you'll be a different person, a better person. Welcome to Iona.
Aspire, achieve. Iona. Call Iona College at 1-800-231-IONA.
Canisius 42, Ryder 42 with 15:22 left to go here in the second half at the Pepsi Arena in Albany. Quarterfinal number 2 for the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference Tournament. Our Conference Player of the Year, brought to you by Pepsi, is Mario Porter, and we're watching him here this afternoon. Mario so far here today, 8 points. He was the league leader in points and rebounds. He's got 8 and 7 so far here today. Meanwhile, his teammate Jerry Johnson, the Rookie of the Year in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, and so far today, Jerry Johnson has 7 points and 3 rebounds. There is Mario Porter, and we talked about it a little bit in the first half, Glenn, but if the Bronx are going to go anywhere in this tournament and make it to Monday and go on to the NCAA tournament, as you might think they have a great chance being the #1 seed, they're going to have him be their man.
No question about it. He's got to be the go-to guy, but I'll tell you one thing. Ryder obviously won the sweeps in the award category. Porter, Player of the Year, Johnson, Rookie of the Year, Coach Harnum, Coach of the Year. They throw that all out the window not to lose right here.
Yep.
No need for individual awards if you're going to lose this game. They give it all back to come out victorious right here.
Richard Hampton gives it off to Bush. Back out to Chris Ravello. So Brian Dukes is on the bench. Give him a rest. Protect him with those 3 fouls with the ball game tied at 42.
See that job by Bush, step into the ball when Ravello picked up his dribble? That's a senior move. A lot of guys standing around, no one helping out. Bush came from that low post spot to help him.
Then he calls for the ball on the low blocks against the double team. Reed blocked it out of bounds. It'll be Canisius ball with 4 seconds on the shot clock. DeWitt Doss will be the inbound man. The Golden Griffins have to get up a quick shot. Ravello tried to give Canisius the lead, couldn't do it. Johnson with the answer at the other end. We talked about his fearless nature. 10 points for Jerry Johnson. That's a big shot. 45-42. Doss ties it back up. 45 apiece. 10 for Doss. It's our 3rd tie.
Boy, Doss has really come to play. Mallory come to play. You know, these guys are sticking around with Dukes and Foster out of the game, Doug, and I think that's a bright sign for Canisius. You know, you'd think Ryder would take their chances and maybe extend the lead with those guys not on the floor, but some great bench contribution from Ravello and Hampton.
Not much time on the shot clock, and finally when they try to go to Porter, there's Richard Hampton to take it away.
So now they're just telegraphing plays to Porter. They're ineffective.
Bush had it knocked away. Ryder with the ball. Taken back by Ravello. A foul on Robert Reed. Chris Ravello with a spark off the bench.
Again, you know, we talked about how important it is to talk and say, hey, there's somebody behind you. But watch this. There's the play from behind. No one talking about there's a play. Now, Reed could have maybe communicated that issue.
Nobody saw him. Nobody told him he was coming. And now Ravello, off of that energy, goes to the line.
The other thing Taylor could have done was just keep the ball low. You know, one of the things I do when I teach kids basketball and ball handling is to keep it low. Don't let that ball go above your knee. There's less of a chance someone can come out and deflect it.
And Glenn Canisius has its first lead of the game. Don Harnum's club getting all it could have ever wanted and much more out of the number 8 seed Canisius. First point for the freshman from Maryland. Lawrence Young's come in for Ryder. Canisius has a 2-point lead. We saw Niagara win the first quarterfinal from Iona. The Purple Eagles get the winner of this one. As you see, the Golden Griffins on top for the first time here today. 47-45, 13:20 to go second half. Baker hits the pull-up. He has been the lead man offensively for Ryder, up to 16 points this afternoon. We're tied at 47. 7 minutes gone here in the second. Dukes and Foster back out there, each playing with 3 fouls. John Ferris has also come back into the game. Foster, pass knocked out of bounds by Lawrence Young, so it'll be Canisius. Possession on the baseline. 13 seconds to shoot. Brian Dukes will inbound. You see the time remaining on the shot clock in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. Dukes penetrates the runner, blocked by Reed, the help man. Nice rebound coming back the other way for Rich Baker. Taylor bumped before the shot. Personal goes against Ravello.
Well, you really can see the luxury that Donnie Harnum has in the backcourt with Taylor, Johnson, and Baker. 3 quick jets that could just fly and take one guy out, and you got another guy coming in even quicker than the first guy.
Mallory in, Hampton out. Porter fouled by Ferris. There's the matchup you want. Get him isolated. Second foul on John Ferris. A non-shooting foul. Wicks and Wallman come back in. Porter goes out. Reed goes out. And again, this has been the substitution pattern that Don Harnum has had throughout the year. Takes Johnson and Porter out at the same time and lets the second unit go at it. Wallman no. Foster the rebound. Ravello, nice pass to Ferris. For the lead again, no. Wallman lost it back to Ferris. Ravello. The Golden Griffins back on top by 2, 49-47.
Boy, great energy. Ravello and Hampton and Ferris have brought great energy into the game off the bench for Mike McDonald.
Baker, short on that one. Here's Baker again, pulling it back out.
The interesting thing is Canisius is scoring on a lot of broken plays, Doug, and that means that Ryder's not getting these loose rebounds that they normally do.
Canisius with a 2-point lead and the basketball.
See, now they're starting to feel it, Doug. You see, they got a little swagger to their step now, a little bravado to their jumpers.
And at the same time, you kind of sense that Ryder's feeling it too, the pressure of being number 1. Baker misses badly. Foster the rebound. Dukes had it knocked away from behind. Taylor bounce it off. Baker lays it in. We're tied again at 49 apiece. Baker with 18 points.
So I think Ryder's going to have to do a better job of putting pressure outside on the perimeter. Not let guys like Dukes and Dawson, the guards Ravello and Mallory, look inside. Not enough pressure.
Foster fouled on the rebound by R.J. Wicks. Foster and Wicks have been battling man on man for the last couple of minutes at both ends. Wicks picks up the personal, and we've got ourselves a timeout. Canisius 49, Ryder 49. Men's quarterfinal action of the MAAC tournament here at the Pepsi Arena. And fans, the 2002 MAAC Hockey League Championship less than 2 weeks away at Holy Cross's Hart Center in Worcester, Massachusetts. All session passes $12 apiece. For ticket information, call 508-793-2573.
You know, Doug, we talked about the hustle stats, picking up loose balls, getting to loose balls, getting to offensive rebounds. Who wants it more? And you take a look at this. Ferris does a great job coming from behind. That leads to an open shot. Neither one of these teams right now can afford to not pick up a loose ball and not get those long rebounds and not get the deflections. This is a war. It's a battle. And right now you can see the turnovers. Canisius has 10 turnovers, but Ryder not capitalizing on those turnovers. Hey, let me just tell you one thing, Doug. Ryder's going to have to get the ball to Porter. Really has been quiet in the second half. They got to try to make sure they get him into the flow of the offense. Canisius has done a great job just getting him away from the flow of the offense. Yeah, he's put in some putbacks and a couple offensive rebounds, but they got to get him more in the flow.
Here's Bush, who has led Canisius in scoring today, 16 points. Foster on the reverse, 51-49 Golden Griffins.
There it is again.
And when you look at it, Foster has only 5 points. Adari Mallory, with the foul trouble, has only 3, and Brian Dukes has 7. Their 3 leading scorers, who average double figures, have really not done a lot offensively here today. It's been Bush, it's been Ravello, it's been Hampton, it's been Doss. 51-49, Canisius on top. Johnson for the lead.
Man.
What does Bill Raftery say? Onions?
I'm saying big shot. I'm going to call him Jerry Big Shot Johnson. Every time they need a bucket, he just pulls up and makes a 3. Forget onions. I'm talking clutch.
Bush. And one. Brandon Wollman the foul, and Andy Bush puts the Golden Griffins back on top. We've got ourselves a good duel here. David versus Goliath, number 1 against number 8, and right now number 8 has the upper hand.
Well, we saw Johnson come down and make a big shot. Then you see Bush go to work on Tank Wallman inside, and obviously Donnie Harnum not happy with the low post defense from Tank on that play, and just as he enabled Andy Bush to maneuver him underneath the basket where he couldn't recover, and that's why Robert Reed's in the game right now.
Well, we've talked all game long and all afternoon long, Glenn, about seniors playing with a sense of urgency and playing well. Let's put Andy Bush in that category. His final appearance. He knows that if they don't pull the upset here today, his college career is over.
He's another one of those guys that have battled injuries. See him taking a step off of Robert Reed.
Jerry Johnson with the tip in. 54-53.
He does everything. Offensive rebounds, he gets steals, makes threes.
15 points for Jerry Johnson. Doss answers right back. The Golden Griffins aren't going away.
No. Wow.
You can start to sense it in the building, too.
Everybody from Canisius has come up big. Everyone is playing well.
Doss has 13. Bush has 18. Reed from the foul line. Off the mark. Foster with another rebound.
See, they are just laying off Reed, giving him those open shots and putting 2 guys on Porter, taking him out of the offense. See, right now, Ryder's got to find a way to set some screens for Mario Porter, get him open to scoring spots on the floor. I thought he traveled.
Mallory will go to the line to try and complete the three-point play. Reed gets the personal.
You know, Doug, they talk about getting momentum going into the tournament. They talk about how important it is to win out, maybe win your next 2 or 3 games. Well, Rider got thumped by Loyola. I'm not too sure that was so great for their confidence because they might be a little step slow. See, I thought he might have traveled there when he went up for a shot. Got away with one. But you know what? Counts as 2, and now he goes to the line, possibly for 3.
And they've got a chance to open up a 5-point lead if Mallory can connect. He's a 65% foul shooter.
That loss to Loyola might have affected their confidence coming into this tournament, even with them being the #1 seed.
Reed tied up by Hampton. It'll be Rider basketball on the held ball. And Don Harnum, you see, signaling for the timeout. Well, there are always 2 lines of thinking when you have a game like that to end the regular season. When you lose, you think, well, they got the loss out of their system. They're going to go in without being overconfident. But then there's the other side where do you lose confidence going into the tournament because you just lost to the last place team?
See, I don't buy into that sometimes, Doug, because I really believe that you don't want to lose. I don't think a loss is good for any team. You know, some people say, well, it's better to lose in the regular season than a tournament. But you know what? I think it's better to win out. I think it's better to know that you're playing with great confidence going into the tournament. Sure, you can get thumped in the tournament, and that happens. We see it happen. But from a confidence standpoint, I think you want to play well. I think you want to win out. I think you want to have that bravado coming into the tournament. And you know what? Loyola might have took that a little bit away from Rider.
Well, Canisius took it from Loyola yesterday. Mike McDonald's club now in the quarterfinals after winning the play-in and looking pretty good.
You know, collectively, this team is playing nicely. They got good inside play from guys like Foster and Bush, and both of those guys are playing very well inside. I think that's the key. No one expected this type of productivity from the front court players of Canisius. You know, we knew these guys could score with guys like Mallory and Dukes and Doss, but it really has been a well-balanced attack for Canisius.
Let's see if we can pick up any of what they're saying in the huddle. Although they're just finishing up, it looks like, but certainly a happy huddle. And hey, if you're Mike McDonald, Glenn, I got to think he's got to be happy to be in the play-in game every year. It seems to work out. They made it all the way to the finals last year. All right, maybe not. Maybe Mike would tell me.
Yeah, I think.
Full of hot air. But nonetheless, he has shown that, hey, you know, you throw it all out the window when you get here for the tournament. Anything can happen.
Yeah, that's very true. These guys are playing like a #1 seed right now. And capable, and we talked about that. How much difference is there really between the 8 seed and the 1 seed? And any team can beat anybody on a given night. It's 40 minutes. Second season right here.
Robert Reed backing down. Fouled by Bush.
See, Doug, I got a problem with this because I don't think this should be the Robert Reed show. You know, he's taken the last 3 shots down. It's got to be the Mario Porter show. Go to the guy that's got you there. And right now, Ryder's not doing it. They've gone away from their strength.
Mario Porter has 8 points and 7 rebounds. He's taken 7 shots, made only 2. The Conference Player of the Year.
A nice looking shot, I'll tell you that much for a guy 6'11".
Only 67%, but you're right. It seems like it would be higher than that with that kind of rotation. Young goes out, Wicks back in for Rider. The Bronx have their starting unit back on the floor with 7:46 to go. Reed gets a pair, and we have a timeout. Canisius has itself a 2-point lead over top-seeded Rider here on the MAAC Television Network.
Manhattan College, with 5 schools of arts, business, education, engineering, and science. Minutes from the cultural center and global marketplace that is New York City. Founded in the Lasallian tradition of excellence in teaching, respect for human dignity, and commitment for social justice. Manhattan College.
Canisius 58, Rider 56, 7:46 left to go. The 8th seed trying to knock off the #1 seed. And as this tournament goes on until Monday night, if you want to know more about the happenings here at the Pepsi Arena, you can go online and check it out at www.macsports.com. It's updated regularly with all the current information about all your favorite MAAC teams and players. And at this point, Glenn, we'd like to pass along our best wishes to John Cale, the official from the Albany area who in yesterday's play-in game, right at the start of the game, suffered a leg injury and had to be taken from the game.
Tore a calf muscle. I think
Tore
a calf muscle. Yeah, that's not a good thing. Boy, that is a tough thing to recover from.
So Jim Burr was able to fill in for him yesterday, another local official.
Right.
But hopefully it'll be a speedy recovery for John. And if you're watching, John, we hope to see you out here before too long.
Good man. Good official. Solid.
7:35 to go here in the second half. Hampton ran into trouble. Still with the dribble. Trouble again. Porter took it away. And Hampton tried to take it back. Johnson pulls it out. Cross court to Wicks. Open for three. Way off the mark. Wicks, though, got it back. Here's Porter. Count the basket and one. It's a tie game, and Porter can make it a Rider advantage once again.
Boy, I thought Wicks passed up an easy layup to get the ball to Porter. I thought he had a nice little direct route to the rim, unobstructed, but instead he gave it to Porter, who kind of made something out of nothing. Now watch this. Wicks gets the rebound. I think he's got a little layup here. Instead he kicked it off. Good pass to Porter, by the way, Doug, who only has one shot attempt in the second half, with the exception of that one. So he's only had 2 touches in the second half. Not enough.
In 13 minutes. Porter missed it. We remain tied at 58. 7:15 to go. John Ferris, Chris Ravello, Brian Dukes, Richard Hampton, and Toby Foster on the floor for Canisius. Ferris from 10, around the rim and out. Johnson the rebound.
Boy, they got lucky that time because Reed didn't get his hand up.
Blocking foul against Dukes, and he's livid. 4th foul against Brian Dukes, and that's a big one.
Johnson so quick. Dukes staying down. Woo, close call.
I think he got it right. I think there was a late shift.
Yep.
Dukes doesn't like it, but that's his 4th. And so now Mike McDonald's job just got a little bit tougher. Loses his junior point guard with 4 fouls for now. He and Ravello go out. Mike McDonald having something to say to Bob Adams, the official who made the call. 6:45 left to go second half.
Funny. He's on the sideline saying, hey, guys, I can't teach an offensive charge any better than that one. That's great.
Ferris almost daring Reed to shoot. He gets himself into trouble, and then the 3-second lane violation. The Canisius defense baited Reed into that turnover.
See, I think what you got to do with Robert Reed right now is get him on the high post and play a little high-low. He's got to step in and take that shot. Everyone's kind of baiting him, but you know what? He should be able to make an 8-foot shot. We've seen him do it. He has to be ready. He has to be shot ready, and he's got to show some great space and play well with Porter. Use him a little bit inside.
Mallory. Blocking foul. It goes against Johnson. That's his 3rd.
Good penetration that time by Mallory. Johnson's trying to take the foul, and well, we didn't see it on one side, so I don't think we're going to see an offensive charge on the other.
Canisius back on top by a point. Canisius came in with a record of 9-19. Riders 17-10. Yet it's the underdogs on top by a point. Mallory with the steal. And he's tied up. Clean foul. No, it's going to be called an intentional foul. We've got an intentional foul on Mallory's breakaway. Here we take another look.
Great steal, stepping in, and Baker comes from behind. Good call.
That was the right call, absolutely.
No question about it. Good call. Lazy pass here. Watch a little lazy pass. Little Fred Brown where Worthy stepped in type pass. Mallory goes up.
dropping a reference from 2 decades ago. Very nice.
How about me revealing my age? I'm not afraid about it, but I'm secure with myself.
Yeah, that's the right call.
I just did a game actually about a week ago where Rutgers was playing Seton Hall. A similar type foul took place and a fight broke out. So I'm proud of how both of these teams handled that.
Yep. Yep. Mallory just going about his business. The junior from Buffalo makes a pair. Don Harnum doesn't like the call. 61-58. Under 6 minutes to go.
That's a big play because you get 2 fouls and the ball goes back to Canisius.
Here's Mallory. That would have been a huge 3. Instead, it's still a 1-possession game. Ryder down 3 with the basketball. Johnson for 3. He hits to tie it at 61 apiece. 18 points for the freshman from Lancaster, PA. Ferris with a nice catch, and he's fouled before the shot.
Every time a 3-point shot is needed for Ryder, Johnson comes up and makes the shot. You can call it onions, you can call it kiwis, you can call it big shot. It doesn't matter. He just plays with so much bravado, so much moxie. And he's made big shots. This kid has won games for Ryder on 4 occasions this year at the buzzer,
including one earlier against these same Golden Griffins a couple of months ago. John Ferris hits the first. He's a 68% foul shooter. 6'7", 235-pounder from Liverpool, just outside of Syracuse. We've got a rebounding foul against Mario Porter. Somehow Hadari Mallory got position on Porter, and it's Mario picks up his 3rd.
See, that's the type of play that gives coaches ulcers. See Donnie Harnum on the sidelines popping tums. He's doing some meditation right now because his head's going to explode. You get inside position on the free throw line. You can't let a guy 3 inches shorter than you get the inside position.
Mallory stepping up big time, Glenn, here in the second half. He's up to 9 points. Now let's see how Mario Porter responds.
The interesting thing, sometimes we see some of the nonverbal stuff going on here, Doug. The Canisius guys, they got smiles on their faces. They got their heads up. They got their chests out. They're confident right now. They're playing with some swagger, and they're not afraid to take chances. They're getting steals.
Ryder down by 3 once again. A bumping foul against DeWitt Doss. That's his 7th, and so we've got or the team's 7th rather, his 3rd, and we've got 1 and 1 coming up. John Ferris out. DeWitt Doss also takes a seat. Brian Duke's in, and Andy Bush is back in. So Mike McDonald going with his A team right now with 5:17 left to go. Jerry Johnson at 1 and 1. He's just a shade under 80% as a freshman from the foul line. 10th best in the conference. Not often, Glenn, you see a freshman with his name in so many statistical categories for the leaders. 6th in scoring, 14th in three-point percentage, 8th in assists, 10th in free throw shooting, and he's got 20 points here today. Canisius leading by a point with the basketball.
Nice hedge out on the screen. Now you got to recover. Good job by the big fella.
Foster drops it off to Mallory. Blocked. Mallory again blocked again by Reed out of bounds. It'll be Canisius ball with 11 seconds to go. Nice job by Ryder on the interior defense not to reach and slap.
Very nice job by Reed recovering on the screen. He recovers here, and all of a sudden good rotation by Mario Porter. Again, good rotation by Wicks. And good rotation by Baker. It's recover and rotate.
Dukes from way downtown. I think he had his heels in Schenectady. 67-63. Another double-figure score for Canisius. Dukes now with 10. Here's Porter. Blocked and fouled. Foster and Bush came together, and it's Bush who picks up the personal.
You know, that three-point shot by Dukes was kind of like a take that little message back to Jerry Johnson. Hey, you think you can make big shots? Well, let me show you something let me give you a little taste of my range right here. No hand up in his face. You see that? See how he gave him a little bit of room? Gave him a little room. He had his hands down. He said, I'm going to take it.
There's DeWitt Doss back in. He has 13 points today. Hampton goes out. Mario Porter struggling at the foul line here today. Only 4 out of 8. Now make it 5 out of 9. Back to a 3-point game.
Ryder not getting enough stops on the perimeter. Good job by Wick stepping in the passing lane. They got to tighten the screws and not let the ball go inside. See how easy that pass went inside, Doug? Got him way too easy.
Under 10 on the shot clock. Foster lets it go, but missed it. Foster saves it. Back out to Doss.
Hustle stats once again.
Under 4 minutes to go.
Long rebounds and picking up the little skirmishes under the basket. Those things win games.
Shot clock at 12. Canisius still working that clock with a 3-point lead. Now they've got to hurry. Dukes to the baseline. Puts it up and in. Brian Dukes playing big down the stretch.
That is a dagger type move because the shot clock was going down. Ryder thought they did a great job playing defense for 35 seconds, but Dukes came in with the killer play.
Glenn, doesn't it seem like this entire second half has been played on the left side of the court? It's all been Canisius holding on to the ball and getting good shots.
Well, you're right, because they've managed the clock so well. This is with 3 seconds left on the shot clock. Dukes splitting the defense again. Porter was not there on the weak side, and I tell you what, Canisius doing a great job of just managing the clock and knowing when to strike.
Well, Brian Dukes now has 12 points. You see the tight ball games that the Golden Griffins have been in, losing 8 out of the 12.
Sometimes, you know, sometimes, Doug, it takes failure to learn how to succeed, and sometimes during the regular season you learn how to win those close games, and maybe Canisius now has learned how to finish teams out. They lost some close ones, and both, you know, so many games this year in the MAAC have been close. That's why it's so tough to seed teams.
Ryder down 5 with the ball. Shot clock at 15. Porter's yet to touch it. Here's Johnson from way downtown. Jerry Johnson with 23 points. It's back to a 2-point ball game. Under 3 minutes to go. Foster hands off to Mallory. Foster had some room for a moment. Here's Bush. Back to Foster. Someone's got to be open. They don't find him. Dukes takes a look at the clock, spins into the paint. Off the up fake, the finger roll. How about Brian Dukes?
We're seeing some guard play here in this game between Dukes and Johnson. 2 guys making big shots. You know, the weak side defense was there. Instead, Dukes still split the weak side defense. He got past the first front row, saw the second front row, and then split it again.
Glenn, Johnson is 6 out of 7 on 3-pointers today. The rest of the team 2 for 11. He is single-handedly keeping the Bronx in it.
This kid is tremendous. He just makes big shots one after another, and he's on fire.
Foul goes against Robert Taylor, who can't believe the call. Can't believe this finish. It's a 1-point ball game. Don Harnum's Ryder Bronx seeded #1, down by a point to Mike McDonald's 8th seeded Golden Griffins. Brian Dukes has been the catalyst for Canisius here down the stretch.
I think Johnson has missed a 3-point shot in the second half, and they've all been huge with possibly Canisius making a run, and he just kind of stops that run every time you think Canisius is going to pull away.
And this is a new career high for Jerry Johnson, the 26 points this afternoon.
You know, when he's making those, the interesting thing is he's making those shots with guys on him. It's not like he's wide open where you can have a cup of coffee, read the sports section. He's got guys in his face making those 3-point shots.
And he just keeps stepping out, another half step further and another half step further. Dukes makes your score 73-70, but single-handedly Jerry Johnson with his 26 points, including from downtown, keeping the Ryder Bronx in it here on the MAAC Television Network. This game is brought to you in part by HSBC, by the Pepsi-Cola Company, the joy of Pepsi, Ryder Trucks, logistics and transportation solutions worldwide, and by I Love New York. Show your love for New York State. (73-70) Canisius, but that young man has been the story for Ryder. 7 for 11 shooting, 6 for 7 on 3-pointers. He's hit all 6 of his free throws, a career-high 26 points.
And all on the money, all when they count during crunch time. And he also has 6 rebounds. He's almost the leading rebounder. Again, not easy shots. I mean, you got to credit Canisius playing good defense on him.
And we're back to live action here at the Pepsi Arena in Albany. Quarterfinal #2 for the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. 73-70. Canisius with the lead. Ryder with the basketball. Reed hands off. Here's Johnson, who's had the hot hand and continues to stroke the jumper. 28 points for Johnson. It's a 1-point game. Canisius by 1 with the ball.
You know, Johnson kind of reminds me of Jason Williams at Duke, how he leads his team in scoring at that point guard spot. Just a guy that could just make shots in the open court, make the threes. He's kind of playing that Jason Williams type of game.
Lawrence Young with the floater, no. Porter with the tip. Ryder back on top by 1. Mario Porter now with 13 points, under a minute to go.
You know, just when you think you got Jerry Johnson tied down out on the perimeter, Porter comes up with an offensive rebound.
Dukes puts it up and in. Back and forth we go. Canisius by a point. Dukes with 18.
Dukes is playing with some moxie as well. He could feel the fact that he can take Johnson kind of anytime he wants.
That's a new season high for Brian Dukes, one off his career high. Johnson again.
Come on.
31 points for Jerry Johnson.
Doug, I'm going to go put my shorts on to see if I can lock him up.
Holy smokes.
I'm going to go in the locker room and see if I can defend him. This is an incredible performance by Johnson.
Put him on the all-tournament team already. 77-75. Ryder back on top by 2 with timeout on the floor. And Jerry Johnson single-handedly shooting the Bronx in this ball game.
Patience around the screen, and he squared himself up nicely. Look how great rhythm he has on that shot coming off the screen. He didn't rush it as well. Got his feet set, his shoulders square, good rotation on the ball.
He has shattered his old career high, which was 24 points a couple of weeks ago at Marist. A third-team all-conference performer. Let's take a listen.
Those. Ball screens. Only blitz the side ball screens. All right? Let's win this fucking game, fellas.
Can't really pick much up there. The Bronx going to be on defense. Mike McDonald diagramming the offensive play he would like. Now the shot clock is at 31. The game clock is at 31 7/10 seconds. For all intents and purposes, the shot clock is off. There is a 7/10 second differential. Now you see the reset on the timeouts. 77-75, the top-seeded Ryder Bronx trying to hold on, and now Don Harnum uses one of his timeouts after he sees Canisius. What they're doing. Let's step away. Timeout at the Pepsi here on the MAAC Television Network. Back at the Pepsi. Ryder 77, Canisius 75. Don Harnum's Ryder Bronx, the #1 seed, but they are trying to hang on. There have been 6 ties, 8 lead changes. Mike McDonald's club can hold for a final shot and a chance to either tie or win it here.
Interesting to see how Johnson's still with Dukes. You know, if I'm Donnie Harnum, I might think about putting R.J. Wicks on Dukes. Maybe make that little switch, kind of mix it up a little bit, but he's sticking with it.
Dukes back out to Mallory, into the paint, for the tie, missed it. It's loose, and we've got, still waiting to hear the call. The officials confer, and it'll be Canisius basketball.
R.J. tried to call the timeout before he hit the deck, but Bob Adams thought he had a better angle at it from that side spot where the bench is, where Mike McDonald's standing, and he called him out of bounds.
One last shot for the Golden Griffins. Under 15 seconds to go. Dukes has had the hot hand. 10 seconds to go. Dukes into the paint. He ties it up with 7 seconds to go. 77-77. Let's see what Johnson has in his bag of tricks for the win. Off the mark. And with 0.5 of a second, Canisius gets it back. And now if you're the Griffs, you have only chance for a tip-in. Extremely difficult with just half a second to go.
Yeah, you got to throw the Hail Mary here. You got to throw it all the way down and hope someone tips it in.
And no fouls if you're Ryder.
They need Doug Flutie right now. There it is.
We are headed to overtime. The 8th seed from Canisius, Mike McDonald, he's got a smile because he's got 5 more minutes to try and take down #1 Ryder. We'll take a break and come back with overtime here on the MAAC Television Network. We are just about to begin overtime. Ryder and Canisius tied at 77. And let's take another look at how the drama just unfolded as the Golden Griffins managed to tie it up. Brian Dukes with 7.5 seconds to go with the tie. And at the other end, Jerry Johnson, who has had the hot hand, unable to connect. Well, that was the one that he hit. But then at the end, he had one last chance with 1 second to go. He missed it. And now we've got overtime.
Now, if he would have made that shot to win the game, I would have seen enough, Doug. You would have done the next couple of games on your own. That would have been it for me. Yep. He would have pulled that one out of his hat and made that shot. What a terrific performance by that young man, Jerry Johnson.
Well, let's take another look here at that one that he did miss. It's the only thing he's missed all in the second half. I mean, he has hit every other shot from 3-point range until that one that just rolled off his hand a little bit to the right.
Yeah, at the buzzer, and actually it was like about 0.5 seconds left on that shot, but obviously he had to rush it. It was good defense by Doss. Now, if I'm Donnie Harnum, though, I really have to make a decision defensively because Duke's really having his way with Jerry Johnson in the second half, getting to spots where he can score, going by him. Might want to think about possibly putting R.J. Wicks on Dukes and maybe switching it up a little bit. Let Jerry Johnson take Doss and Lawrence Young getting the start. Put Lawrence Young on Mallory.
Bush wins the tap. You saw the overtime numbers. The only overtime game for either of these teams before this year. Ryder beat Iona in New Rochelle back on January the 9th. Porter with a rebound. Brian Dukes with a career-high 20 points. Jerry Johnson with a career-high 31 points. The two shooting stars in the second half. .15 seconds to shoot. Wicks on the baseline. Pass knocked out of bounds. 10 seconds to shoot.
Wicks a little tentative with that shot. He passed up a little 10-footer from that corner spot. Maybe a little 8-footer. A little surprised with that. Normally he'll take that shot and make it.
Wicks gets it into Porter. Now Johnson comes out. Off the crossover, into the paint, the runner, and he gets the roll. With 3 on the shot clock, Ryder has the lead again. Johnson with 33.
See, Doss played him to shoot that ball, and he just went by him off the bounce. Weak side defense got there too late.
Cross court to Doss. Into Bush. Andy Bush backing down against the double team, and a foul. Oh, traveling violation against Bush. Steps called against Andy Bush. Baker replaces Young. And now with a 2-point lead, Ryder gets the ball back. Niagara has already advanced to the semifinals. The Purple Eagles waiting to see who they will get tomorrow afternoon. Johnson double team. 15 to shoot. Reed hands off for Wicks. Porter gonna have to put it up. Well short, and it goes out of bounds. Canisius ball.
Nice defensive job that time by Doss, who did a great job of preventing Jerry Johnson from getting it around the screen. That's where he scored twice already, coming off those screens out top by Reed. That time he didn't let him get it.
Under 3 minutes to go in overtime. Dukes left alone, and he missed it. Reed the rebound.
Good job by Reed keeping it over his head, didn't bring it down.
2:45 to go in OT. The only basket so far in overtime has been by Ryder. Now the overload on the left side. Porter flashes. Shot clock at 5. Mario Porter misses. Dukes the rebound. He's in trouble. And a timeout called by the Golden Griffins bench. 2 minutes, 16 seconds to go in overtime. A big rebound by Brian Dukes, who has been doing it all here since halftime at the Pepsi Arena. This copyrighted telecast of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the MAAC and MAAC Properties, a division of Host Communications.
You know, Doug, who would have thought coming into this game that Mario Porter would have only 13 points? And they were quiet 13 points this game. I think Canisius done a nice job of holding him down. But who would have thought we'd see a performance like Jerry Johnson making big shot after big shot and not afraid to take those shots? I mean, he just has, it's been incredible what he's done this game, making threes with guys in his face, going to the basket. So impressed with his ability to just show the bravado of taking those shots. I mean, a lot of freshmen come into this league or any league around the country and they're a little bashful.
Adari Mallory, Toby Foster, DeWitt Doss, Richard Hampton, and Andy Bush on the floor right now for Canisius. Brian Dukes taking a break, and it may have cost Canisius right there. Without Dukes on the floor, the turnover in the front court. Under 2 minutes to go in overtime.
So now Ryder's got to spread the floor. Look for Porter on the low block. Reed's wide open. See, Reed's got to take that shot.
Backdoor pass. Wicks for 2.
Nice job, though, by Reed getting to the open spot. It opened up the floor. He was the pressure relief guy in the middle of the floor. Wicks did a nice job of getting to the basket.
Foul on Johnson. Doss will go to the line to shoot 2.
See, what I like about Reed, he's showing great presence playing with Porter. Watch what he does. He steps to the middle of the floor, takes the one little dribble. Wicks goes backdoor, seeds the open spot under the floor. A nice recognition pass by Mr. Reed.
He has to make himself a threat. So many times here in the second half, they've left him wide open, and he's not been a threat. He hasn't even looked toward the basket. Doss with 14 points. Here comes Dukes back in for Foster. Dukes leads Canisius with 20. Bush has 18, Doss 14, Mallory 10. For Ryder, it's been Jerry Johnson with 33. Porter has 13, Baker 18. Back to a 2-point game, 90 seconds to go in overtime. Baker with the dribble. Here's Johnson with a quick release. He's still feeling it.
Wow.
Jerry Johnson with 36 points. Dukes fouled by Baker, and he will shoot 2.
Johnson is just constant movement. Look how he leaves the floor, goes one side to the other side, comes off the staggered screen, squares up nicely. Look how he's squaring his body without the bounce, coming off those screens nicely. See, that's what makes him so dangerous. Like Darryl Green from Niagara, he can take you off the bounce and he can beat you off the catch.
Canisius back within 4. Dukes a third-team all-conference pick. They announced it a couple of days ago, and he's showing why here this afternoon. 22 after he makes a pair, and Mike McDonald's club is back within 3. Timeout called with 1:06 to go here in overtime.
Well, I'll tell you what, Canisius has made every big free throw coming down the stretch here as well, and that's what you need to do to stay in games and win games.
We'd like to welcome those of you who just watched Lafayette beat Colgate 74-71. We are in overtime at the Pepsi Arena in Albany, where Ryder, the #1 seed, is holding on to a slim 3-point lead over the 8th-seeded Canisius Golden Griffins here in the MAAC quarterfinals. Along with Glenn Consor, this is Doug Sherman. And you see the reset. Each team in good shape with timeouts. And Mike McDonald's club very near to pulling the first big upset of the tournament. But right now they trail by 3. 1:06 to go in overtime. A Brian Dukes shot with 7 seconds left in regulation forced this overtime session. Long pass, dangerous pass, taken away by the Golden Griffins. 1 minute to go in OT. Dukes with the runner. And folks, we've got ourselves a 1-point game once again. Brian Dukes has 24 points.
Off an errant pass. See, that's just too much of a gamble making that pass over the top. Dukes, again, off penetration has been dynamite in overtime. Look at the pass over the top. So you want to make the conservative pass under your basket. Instead, they threw it over the top. Very, very dangerous pass, and obviously costly as Dukes finishes around the basket. Good penetration again. And Dukes, like Johnson, has been unstoppable in overtime.
Dukes, the junior from Orchard Park, has 24. Now with under a minute to go in OT, Ryder with a 1-point lead and the basketball.
Nice job. See, that's a conservative pass right there. Step to the ball, give it to the guard, execute your play. Spread the floor, look for Porter inside.
Johnson guarded by Dukes.
And that's a switch because they had Doss on Johnson.
Shot clock at 15. Here's Porter. Back to Reed. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Porter trying to make something happen. He gives it away. Taken back by Wicks. 3 seconds on the shot clock. It's no good. And Canisius will get a chance to win it here in overtime. Down by a point. DeWitt Doss at the point. Under 15 seconds to go. Doss forces it up. No good. Porter has it stripped away. And we've got a jump ball. The possession arrow goes the other way to Ryder.
Wow, and Ryder caught a break. Very surprised that when Porter got that rebound, he brought it down into the land of the guards where Doss just dug it out and tied him up. Unfortunately, the arrow was faced the wrong way.
What did you think about the Doss shot with about 14 seconds to go?
Didn't like it at all. Left his feet, got a little anxious, still had time left on the clock to run a play, and I think you get the ball in Dukes' hand. He's the guy that got you there. He made every big shot so far, but the interesting thing about that was that Wicks, for the first time, was defending Dukes on that occasion. And we've been talking about that. How does Ryder make the change, and how do you stop Dukes? Well, Wicks is the best perimeter defender on the Ryder team. Finally, they put him on Dukes and shut him down, didn't let him get the ball, so it really worked into the favor of Ryder.
So now Ryder will get the ball back, leading 84-83. The alternate possession arrow gives it to the Bronx after the held possession. So now Don Harnum's club looking to hold on. Let's listen.
Mario underneath it. All right, fake. All right, we have one timeout, correct? Yes. Okay, we got to be strong as shit with the ball, fellas. All right, here's what I want. I want Jerry, you're going here. You're going here, like you're going low, and then you're going here. Okay?
I'm going to toss out some of the things Donnie Harnum's telling. I'm going to tell you what he's saying right now. Don't throw the ball over the top. Make the conservative pass. Step to the ball. That's what he's saying. And he's also reinforcing that he has one timeout left, so if the guys get in trouble, call timeout. Mike McDonald, on the other hand, is saying, you know what? Let's get a quick foul. As soon as it goes in, foul right away. See, they got to make it's important right now for Ryder to make good basketball cuts to the basketball. No risky passes, nothing over the top, a conservative pass. Don't even throw a bounce pass in. Throw a good, crisp chest pass.
Baker is the inbound man. Johnson comes to the ball. They give it right to him. And the foul immediately, about 1 3/10 seconds ticked off the clock. So Johnson, who has 36 points already today, will head to the line. That's the team's 9th, so Johnson only gets a 1-and-1. Here's the line on Johnson. 11 for 16 shooting, 8 for 10, a new MAAC tournament record on three-pointers made, 6 for 6 from the line, 36 points, 6 rebounds. All this from the freshman guard.
Donnie Harnum, boy, I tell you what, thinking about strategy coming into this game, thinking Porter's going to dominate maybe on the low blocks, and he's going to get some good points out of Johnson, but I don't think he expected the freshman to come up big in the tournament like he has.
Canisius has one more chance. 3 seconds. Mallory for the win.
Wow!
He's got it with 3/10 of a second to go. That's your ball game. Number 8 Canisius has knocked off number 1 Ryder. 85-84. Jerry Johnson, who had done everything for the Ryder Bronx today, missed the free throw, the front end of the 1-and-1, and Canisius able to go end-to-end, and at the last second, Hodari Mallory was able to get the shot up and in. Let's take another look and listen. With 3/10 of a second left on the clock, Hodari Mallory has taken the Canisius Golden Griffins into the semifinals. They will meet Niagara tomorrow in the semis. A battle for Western New York rights, and one of the two teams will wind up in the MAAC finals Monday night. Brian Dukes had 24 points, but the game-winning shot by Hodari Mallory with 14. And there you see our Pepsi player of the game, Brian Dukes, with his 24 points, 8 for 11 shooting, hit both of his threes, and he was clutch throughout the second half as Canisius forced overtime. It was Dukes who hit the shot with 7 seconds to go in regulation to go to OT, and then it's Mallory who comes up with the game winner for the Golden Griffins. We'd like to thank everybody who joined us on the Empire Sports Network. We're going to take a break right now and come back. MSG, stay with us. We will have our Star of the Game show when we come back here at the Pepsi Arena. Canisius over number 1 Ryder on the MAAC Television Network. A basket by Brian Dukes at the end of regulation forced overtime, and then a basket by Hodari Mallory with under a second to go in OT gives the Canisius Golden Griffins an 85-84 win over the top-seeded Rider Bronx in the MAAC quarterfinals. I send it over to my broadcast partner, Glenn Consor, standing by. Glenn?
Mike McDonald, what a great victory. Now, you knew it would be a cakewalk. So you came into this game and, you told the guys to take it easy a little bit, intensity not being important. But in all seriousness, Mike, you guys took care of the basketball in the second half. You didn't go away. A lot of credit to Jerry Johnson, who made every big shot down the stretch. But give credit to Brian Dukes. And how about this guy on your left right here making a big shot when no one thought he could do it?
Just our whole team, and you mentioned it, we hung around. In the first half, Dukes had 3 fouls, Adari had 2. They're our energy guys, and we didn't have them, Glenn, and we were struggling. And to be only down 6, I thought Chris Ravello, Richard Jones, Richard Hampton off the bench gave us great minutes to keep us close. And then we came out with a burst and made it a game at the beginning of the second half. And, I'm so happy for this guy because we struggled. We've lost a ton of games like this all year. And everybody was like, oh, boy, here could be another one. And this kid went to the bench at one point and said, I'll come off the bench and give you a spark, coach, and did whatever he could to get us to win. And I'm just so happy for him. I'm happy for the guys in that locker room. And, now it doesn't get easier. Now we probably play the hottest team in the league in Niagara.
Well, what is it with you, Mike, coming into this tournament, playing in the Friday game? And I know you don't want to play in that game, but there's something a little magical about you coming in and rolling off a couple of wins in this tournament.
I don't know if magic is the word, Glenn. It's just 2 years. I mean, that's it. I don't think there's any trend there. It was just we were lucky. We were very fortunate the last 2 years to get out of this game, the quarterfinal game, with a win. Last year it was Clive Bentick. This year it's Adari Mallory. And you know what? If we got to win with 0.3 of a second or 1/10 of a second like it was last year, we'll take it and we'll move on. And now maybe the magic will hopefully continue for one more night.
Well, before you pass out, I'm going to let you go, to let you get back to your team. And by the way, I'm not playing poker with you tonight. I won't be there at 10 o'clock. Let me get the Hodari Mallory right here. Hey, great job. How about the shot you made? Now, what were you thinking? You got the rebound. You're coming down the court. What were you thinking coming up? Did you have a chance to take a look at the shot clock?
I did. I half court. I looked up at the shot clock. It was 3 seconds left. I decided I got to get close to the basket. Got as close as I can, tossed it up, and it went.
Were you going for the backboard or were you going for a straight shot? Did you think you can get that close to the rim with 4 seconds on the clock?
I didn't think so, but I got there, and I just went for the backboard, and I got it in.
Now talk a little bit about the way your team played, Hodari. You guys hung around. Obviously, great performances by yourself, and Bush came up big on the inside for you guys, and you made some big shots. Dukes was great at the point. Doss made some big shots as well. What does it mean now, getting momentum the way you guys are playing? At the end of the year, you guys you had a good game against Loyola as well.
Our last 3 games have been the same way. We've had intensity. We just come in, play hard. We got a contribution from everybody on the team, from the bench and from the 5 starters. And me being on the bench and Dukes being on the bench, we needed it from the bench today. And they gave it to us, and we stayed in it. 6 points at halftime, came out with a burst of energy, and we came out with the victory.
Well, it was a complete team effort, and they needed that shot. I congratulate you on making a big-time shot for a big-time player. Great job, buddy. All right. Doug, you made a big shot. Canisius came out victorious.
Absolutely. Thank you, Glenn. Hodari Mallory with the big shot to knock off the #1 seeded Rider Bronx. We'll be back with much more here at the Pepsi Arena. You're watching the MAAC Television Network. Welcome back, everybody, to the Pepsi Arena in Albany, where 2 of the 4 men's quarterfinals are in the books. And what do you know? The 8th-seeded Canisius Golden Griffins pull the big upset. #1 Rider is out, 85-84. Welcome back, everybody. And you had a chance to talk to Hodari Mallory. Brian Dukes also could have easily been our star of the game. He was our Pepsi player of the game. But they came up with one big shot after another, the whole team.
Oh, absolutely. It was Dukes. Bush made some big shots that game. Obviously, Mallory did some nice things. Doss. It was a complete team effort. I think the most important thing that we didn't realize was going to happen this game is the bench energy, the guys off the bench. Ravello came off the bench, did a great job. They really got guys that I think that they didn't expect to contribute right away, and that was the difference this game. The other thing was Dukes did a great job at taking care of the basketball. 5 turnovers in the second half, including overtime for Canisius. They did a great job taking care of the ball, and more importantly, they shut down Mario Porter in the second half.
Meanwhile, Jerry Johnson on the flip side in a losing effort, a career-high 36 points. No, they didn't. He tied a MAAC tournament record with 8 3-pointers in the game. He made almost everything he took. Unfortunately for him, though, he wound up missing that key front end of the 1-and-1 with only 7 seconds to go.
With a performance like that, you hate to see a kid like that lose a game. But somebody had to win it, and you got to give a lot of credit to Canisius. I talked to Mike McDonald. He said, we hung around. up until the last play of the game, they certainly hung around, because just when you thought they were out of it, which we did, the majority of this game, Mallory came down. I thought they maybe should have put a little bit more pressure on the ball, but instead Mallory got to the rim real quick and made the shot at the buzzer.
All right, let's check the scores from the MAAC tournament so far here at the Pepsi Arena. They're brought to you by HSBC. And Canisius is on a roll now. They've won consecutive games to make it into the semifinals, where they will meet their Western New York rival tomorrow afternoon. The Niagara Purple Eagles won the first quarterfinal today, and you see the matchup. Canisius versus Niagara tomorrow at noon. And tonight we've still got plenty of men's hoop action coming in the quarterfinals still. Manhattan against Fairfield in the nightcap. The first game, Siena versus Marist. We've had our first big upset. You always see it. This is March Madness. That's what they call it. And so we have the #1 seeded Rider Bronx out of the tournament. Well, we said at the top, Glenn, there wasn't a huge difference between 1 and 8. There's not that big of a difference,
really
as some years there are.
No, absolutely. And that's the thing. That's what's beautiful about this tournament. You know, no team really dominated this year. You know, in the last couple of years, Iona has been the dominant team, a lot of talent. Wasn't the case this year. So you think about it, you know, when you think about depth, when you think about what teams can do in this conference, Fairfield's playing great basketball right now. Manhattan's playing great basketball. We're going to see some great games, obviously, this evening. But you can see how Canisius, obviously, on a roll, when they get a full, complete game with the bench, any team could beat any team on any given night, and we've already seen it.
Okay, as we go to break, let's take another look at how the drama unfolded. Jerry Johnson had the hot hand to keep the Rider Bronx around, but here's the game winner at the end of overtime by Hodari Mallory. The Griffs move on the MAAC Television Network. Welcome back, everybody, as we get much closer to the second women's semifinal here at the Pepsi Arena in the MAAC tournament. Siena versus Fairfield coming up. But in the meantime, I send it to Cecilia DeMarco, standing by with a very special guest. Cecilia?
Thank you, Doug. I'm standing here with Jim Smith, Vice President of Special Olympics New York. Jim, you've enjoyed a wonderful relationship with the MAAC Conference. Tell us what this has meant to you and to the MAAC Conference.
Well, I'll tell you that it's meant a lot to our athletes. In Special Olympics New York, there are 40,000 athletes around the state. Commissioner Enzer and the MAAC have shown their commitment over those years by giving our athletes exposure, by letting them demonstrate their skills on the court. By supporting our athletes, they also get their student athletes, the MAAC student athletes involved, and we've become friends with a lot of those athletes and the coaches, and it's all part of our mission to expand our program to the youth of America. And through the MAAC, we've been able to do that with great success.
Today, it was a busy day. You had lots going on in the arena. Tell us about that.
Well, at halftime today, we had our athletes demonstrating their skills before the MAAC crowd, and we did a demonstration game. They got the crowd really into it. There was a lot of points scored. And what the purpose of the demonstration games are is to introduce Special Olympics and the abilities of the athletes to the general public. If you haven't heard of Special Olympics, well, these demonstration games show you everything. They show you the camaraderie, they show you the skill, they show you the joy of just being able to compete.
It's just a wonderful organization. Thank you, Jim, for spending time with us. All of you out there, please send donations to the Special Olympics. If you give us a quick address.
Well, it's 800-836-6976. That's our number. And the phones, you can always leave a message.
Thank you. Doug, back to you.
Thank you, Cecilia. We'll take a break. Coming back with the Siena Fairfield women's semifinal here on the MAAC Television Network.